With me in the studio is Aditya Paul and Akshay Asthana. Aditya Paul is a content writer. Akshay Asthana is a postgraduate advertisement professional. And they're joining me from Mumbai. They're both part of this protest, representative of the young Indians who have been spontaneously coming out. You were both in Azad Maidan?
Yes.
Fantastic. Shobha De, thank you very much for joining me. Swapan Das Gupta is joining us tonight. Veteran journalist joining us from Delhi. And I have legal luminaries Soli Sorabji and Harish Salve with me tonight. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I first want to begin by asking you, Mr. Sorabji, what do you think about this movement that's picking up? It's unprecedented, the support we are seeing. Will it last?
No question about it. And the remarkable thing about the movement is it's supported by people of all race, ideology, and particularly by the young, which actually really brings to the fore the mounting revulsion people used to feel against corruption, just not being checked, not being abated, but flourishing. And that's the main thing. I'm very happy that the youth are in it. And also there has been no question of any race, religion, caste, creed in the matter. I think Anna Sahib has done a great service to the nation by making the people, the powers that be, realize that the Lokpal bill cannot wait any longer. But of course, the Lokpal bill, how it is to be enacted, is a different matter. What are the essential requisites of the bill is one matter which must be seriously considered. In my view, two things. The ambit of the Lokpal. It should cover all ministers, possibly even the Prime Minister. There's some little problem there. All bureaucrats, top officers. And besides, another thing is its composition, extremely important. In my opinion, it shouldn't be a one person or a Lokpal, three people of undoubted integrity in whom the people have complete trust. So whatever they're finding, it'd be more effective than even the order of a court of law.
Fantastic. I just want to begin by first trying to understand what is the basis of this movement. I want to ask you, Akshay and Aditya, whichever one of you, tell me first, what is driving you?
The entire unity.
Entire unity of?
Entire unity of people of the same understanding, same thinking, that India has to change. A change should come.
Also, it's the frustration that we face. Because it's not just a Raja or anybody else who runs away with our money. It's in our daily lives, from the smallest bureaucrat. And if somebody like me faces this problem, imagine how much a poor person must be feeling. When for his ration he has to pay a bribe, when for a water supply he has to pay a bribe. It's endemic in this country.
Is this a one-day Twitter phenomenon?
No, it's not. We refuse to back down as the youth of India until the Jan Lokpal bill is taken up in the specified form which is being asked by the India Against Corruption and Anna Hazare. We refuse to back down. We will do what it takes. If it takes 2 years, we will do that. If it takes many years, we will take that.
You see this growing, Harish Salve, just getting first comments. You see this groundswell growing, staying.
Yes, Arnab, I salute Anna Hazare for having given direction to the revulsion and disgust this nation is feeling. I hang my head in shame because I have said this publicly before, including on your channel, and I am saying it again. I say it in all my speeches to young students. Our generation has failed this country. It's this youth which has risen in support of Anna Hazare because they will not tolerate this kind of a government anymore. And I think this movement has now picked up a kind of a support which the government can't ride roughshod over. And I think you've already seen the first symptoms of that. So I have a feeling this momentum has to be maintained. I have only one thing to say to my young friends. I salute you for what you're doing, but please do not let an anti-corruption movement turn into an anti-democracy and anti-development movement. I have seen with very great concern the draft of the new Lokpal bill. There can be no doubt it must have 3 people of unimpeachable integrity, as Soli suggested. There can be no doubt that it must cover all offices. In fact, I say there is no problem, and after seeing the Raja files as they produced in court, it must cover the Prime Minister's office.
Yes.
But the ambit of this bill should be corruption. The draft bill makes governance the final verdict of the Lokpal. using general languages such as maladministration and giving the Lokpal the permit to cancel license. I mean, tomorrow somebody will tell the Lokpal that permitting the construction of a dam is an abuse of power, please cancel the license. Acquisition of land is an abuse of power, please cancel the license. It is very subjective. Governance and policy decision must be by the elected political executive and the civil service.
But
corruption has to be rooted out of this country, and the Lokpal must firmly and
yes, but
in an absolute dedicated manner fight corruption. Don't hand over governance to the Lokpal.
But Swapan Dasgupta, has anyone actually questioned that? All they are saying, Anna Hazare and his supporters and those, our young friends here in the studio as well, they are saying, we want participation. We want to be included in the committee that drafts this Lokpal bill. What's the problem
Absolutely.
here? And what do you think about the Anna Hazare phenomenon? Swapan Dasgupta.
Arnab, there are two aspects to this. One is that it shows a certain degree of profound exasperation with corruption. Number two, it suggests that there is a growing feeling, particularly amongst the middle classes, that impediments in the path of India becoming a great nation has to be removed, and they have quite rightly identified corruption as one of the main impediments. And this sort of an outburst which has taken place are symptomatic of that. But having said that, I think I would completely agree with what Harish Salve has just mentioned, that there is a danger of a degree of intolerance and self-righteousness overtaking this movement, and therefore it, rather than being a focused attack on corruption and the ways to fight it, it becomes a general flaying of arms against the system, against politics, and therefore disown the entire political process, and there is a great danger that it can easily be hijacked. And I think what is good about the Anna Hazare movement is that someone is speaking. But Anna Hazare is not the only person who is speaking against corruption. There are many other movements which
Anna Hazare is speaking of corruption.
Now the question for someone to appropriate that entire space, what is important is the recognition that society, non-politicians must also have a say. But to actually identify it and say, epitomize the entire process, to my mind, is somewhat
but question is,
and
we're getting strong rebuts. We're getting strong rebuts to what you are saying. So I'll let Shobhade go first. Shobhade, go ahead. I'll come to you, Aditya, right after that. Question is, let me put it simply, is there a worry here that Anna Hazare becomes the icon, becomes too important, becomes the center point? I mean, is the individual more important or the issue or the process? Shobhade wants to rebut.
I think we must make one thing clear, that nobody can appropriate what is happening today. It is happening. The tipping point has been reached, and frustration levels are such. It's not an orchestrated movement. Fortunately, there are no politicians here telling these young boys who are in the studio with me what they should be doing, what they should be saying, what they should be protesting against. This kind of spontaneity and this kind of a protest, maybe it's 42 years too late. Had it happened 42 years ago, we would not have been here. Anna Hazare, whether he becomes an icon or a symbol, is not the main concern. He is perhaps being seen as the 21st century Mahatma by these kids who have had no idol to look up to, no hope, no inspirational figure. So he is the 21st century Mahatma, and why should we grudge him that? He is inspiring a nation. He is providing some kind of idealism to a very lost generation who are, जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं हद हो गई थी. The nation had it up to there, and the time to revolt is now. This is the moment. This is the moment.
Aditya wanted to respond to you, to Swapan Dasgupta. Go ahead. Go ahead, Aditya.
Two things. Firstly, even if Anna Hazare has become the icon of the movement, Anna Hazare has given my generation hope in this country. The rest of the politicians have just made us feel like we should leave this place as soon as possible. Anna Hazare has made me feel a new love for this country, that somebody can do something.
How old are you?
I am just 24 now, sir.
And why have you been drawn into this? Are you responding politically or personally?
I'm responding to this personally. If I'm responding to the frustration I feel. I feel that I can't do anything about corruption. I feel surrounded by this and I have no weapons. I feel unarmed.
No, but the argument broadly, yesterday some others also said it, that, you know, there is an executive, there is the legislature, there is a process. You cannot subvert the process. I don't understand the argument clearly because, you know, this is a democratic right, as Omar Abdullah said, for anyone to protest. I don't think anyone's subverting the process, but what do you think of this argument coming again and again?
See, what I feel is ki, as a citizen of India, we have the right, as in we are electing the representatives of our people, as in these people sitting in the government are representatives of us. So we have the right to talk to them, we have the right to change.
No, our responsibility does not end with voting once every election.
The process has subverted the future of the youngsters.
Yes.
The process has subverted the future of this younger generation.
So
let's not talk of the process and the executive and this. The kind of governance we see, if I was 30 years younger, maybe I would have been on the streets with these young people. I salute them and I think their spirit is right. And it's time their voices is heard and it's time the government realized that they can't get away with it absolutely and for all times.
Yeah, but I don't...
My only concern, and let Anna Hazare be iconized. Maybe we need an icon at this time.
True.
This beleaguered nation, this tired nation needs somebody to look up to.
You know,
we are fed up of looking down upon our leaders.